Welcome to Sacred Conversations with Mandula. Today we are specifically going to speak about why you should only learn to take inspired action. Okay, so inspired action, when you break up the word inspired, it is in spirit. That means that you are moving from a higher power. You are moving where your head, your heart, and your body are in one conversation speaking the same language, and at least they are directing towards something that is of alignment. Okay. Another thing to note is if you are still thinking you need to do something, then you probably shouldn't do it. Why I say that is because most often than not, the fact that you say that you're thinking versus feeling, then you're in your wounds. And what are your wounds? They are a trauma response to what happened within your relationship between the being and the doing when you were a child, right? A lot of the times you couldn't take inspired action because for whatever reason, whatever stresses your parents had or your guardians had with you, they couldn't or might not have known how to self-regulate their own nervous system. So that would have been projected to you to keep yourself safe. So you became hypervigilant, right? Because you had to become aware of what could possibly happen to put you out of safety. Okay, so if you're thinking, more often than not, you are in the head space, which is projecting a lot of the trauma and the wounds and the conditioning. Now, you can still be thinking, however, on a certain level from the feeling space. So it's important for you to get into your body, to get your body into a state where you don't have tension. Because the moment you're speaking from tension, I promise you are speaking from your wounds and your trauma. Okay, because the fact that you have tension, that is a trauma, that is wisdom from the body communicating to you that this is where we are speaking from. So it's important that you get your nervous system just really regulated and in a soft level where everything feels like you are in alignment, so that you can feel your way into taking action. When you feel your way into taking action, once again, like I said, your head, your heart, and your body are in one conversation. When you are thinking, that's already telling me that you are thinking. It's mainly your head that is guarding the way. So if you learn how to tap into spirit, how do you do that? There's so many ways in which you can do that. You can go into prayer. You can go into gratitude. It's the same thing. You can go into nature. You could go rest, effective rest, deep rest, a nap, a full sleep. You can go into a restorative class, yoga practice, meditation, movement practice that allows you to still feel your body into a state of oneness. It is so vital where we are and where we find ourselves in this particular timeline, that you will be experiencing the world as almost as it's shifting, because right now we in the ascending, as you are ascending. So it doesn't matter what year this is that you listen to this, you are ascending into a higher level of your being where you already might find yourself that you either tapping towards divine union within self, or you're already in divine union with self. But what could be happening is that because the ego is still catching up, your reality might still look like the old version of you. You might still be in the same place. You might still be connected to the same old people that don't support the new version of you moving forward, right? So it's going to be very critical that you only take inspired action, and then you watch your words. How are you communicating to yourself? Because what you are thinking and how you are actioning is a form of communication. It's a feedback loop that whatever you are thinking and feeling to do from the traumatic space is projecting into physical manifestation and bouncing back at you. And then the body is responding through tension. So do you see, it's a feedback loop and it's circular. So that's why healing and circle is so important, because there's a beginning and an ending. And if we become more intentional to what it is we are conversing about and what it is that we are in sacred union about in this moment, communion, then it is of inspiration, right? So mindfulness practices, getting into that, getting into self-mastery, getting to question yourself a little bit more, getting to release the blame of other people for what has happened in your life. Now, I'm not condoning any violence at all. I do, however, want you to understand that every misuse of energy and power that has come into physical abuse and manifested in that form, that those people too have been, it's like that monkey see, monkey do. You see what you did from your environment, and because maybe your environment couldn't support your nervous system, you too could either lash into different extremes, right? So we're not condoning those at all. We're just also understanding that the hypervigilance of a person like that is very high, and because they didn't have the support, they are what is it? It's like when a kid has a temper tantrum, a tantrum. That's in an adult form through physical abuse too, and verbal abuse. Okay. So to release that, or not to release that, but to honor that. And I hope you find healing if you have ever been physically or verbally abused. I really do. And now this has gone into something completely different. I wasn't expecting this. Can I just take a moment to understand why those words would have come out? Because I was going into blame, like living a life of more freedom. Living a life of more freedom. Okay. So I guess this also taps into, there's this book called The Woman Who Loved Too Much. And I'm being redirected, but it's going to tie into the conversation. So please stay tuned in with me. There's this woman, a book called Woman Who Loved Too Much. And it talks about the aspects, and it's not only women when you read the book, but it just talks about our nature is just very almost like it extends to mothering, and it could also extend to smothering. So what it basically says at the end of it, at the root of the book, it gives us different examples of how what you grew up with, because you didn't have power over it as a child, you will recreate that situation as an adult in order for you to have power over it. So if there was some form of abuse in your home, even if it didn't happen to you and you saw it to someone, because you blamed yourself for not being able to do something, you have recreated that existence of those people in your life to be able to have power and control now that you are bigger than where you were as a child, right? So do you see that link? It ties back into, it's very important now that you heal the body and you heal the mind and you heal the heart and you allow yourself to change this pain and create a beautiful story from it. Because I promise you, there is beauty for you in this pain to be able to share with us. Okay. So the importance of taking inspired action is tapping back into your body. Now, in order for you to no longer blame and to be able to live a life that is no longer dimmed by the other person or the other people, is to live inspired. So move the body, move the energy. I remember someone telling me years ago that, remember, life is in movement. So if we try to control the movement because we think it's going to keep us safe, it's actually harming us in the long run, right? So if you learn how to adapt to the change, because you got to think that when you breathe, there are different ways in which you breathe, that you can be breathing to cause more stress, and you can be breathing to reduce stress. But it's about now being conscious of how you are breathing and listening to how your breath is communicating to you, because that feedback loop is now entering into your body. Because if you're not connected to the breath, which is guiding you to come into alignment and only take inspired action through feeling, then what you would do is project your wounds, right? And then that feedback loop comes into tension in the body. I hope that brings some form of clarity. And I want to offer the space that if there are any questions around how to heal with this aspect and tension, please send me a message. You can work together with me, one-on-one embodiment coaching, just to help you find your highest alignment and to help you alchemize your pain, okay, into the most beautiful story, to help you move from anything that has been trying to strip you off of life, that we bring back life into your existence, that you understand your voice, your story is very necessary to be heard. And even if it doesn't trickle to millions of people, that one person could be lending themselves towards the million people, you have done enough. So I'm just going to ask for grace and kindness to yourself. Watch how you communicate with you. Be kind to you, because ultimately what you want to do, because of that feedback loop, if you are attracting people who are unkind, that's because you are unkind to yourself. We are simply mirrors to each other. So if you can understand the mirror imagery, and you can understand the importance of being a mirror, is for you to be able to see yourself. Because even if you've never seen yourself up until you've seen a mirror, so you can never see yourself, right? You can never physically see yourself. You can only see yourself through a reflection. So if you want to see the highest vibration of love, and you want to see more inspired living, then you got to create that within self, so that feedback loop in physical manifestation also aligns with that. But remember, it takes time. So instead of moving from the thinking space, move from the feeling space, because then your body is settled, your nervous system is calmer, and you're not in that response of trauma. Okay? So I hope that can help you a little bit more, just to shed light on why it's very important to start taking inspired action right now. Please do like, share, and subscribe. And once again, if you want to work with me personally, I'm going to put my details in the description. Okay. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And I hope that this can inspire something within you that reignites that awareness and the remembrance of who you are. I always say, remember who you are, Simba. Remember who you are, Simbakins. Okay.